Right, welcome to the show. Tonight, listen, I have to tell you, tonight we were going to... I can't really sit down, can I? I could do, but I'm not going to. Tonight we were going to do a programme on running a brothel, all the problems related to running a brothel, the cost of sex. We got in touch, I have to tell you, we got in touch with accountants. They didn't want to come on the show. We thought, estate agents, they're not doing terribly well at the moment. We'll get in touch with a couple of estate agents, and they didn't want to come on the show either. So we've rearranged it a bit, and a couple of hours ago we found that 50% of the guests who were going to appear on the show tonight couldn't turn up. But never mind, it's going to be fascinating, and we want you to ring in if you have any questions to ask about opening your own brothel. If you want to open a brothel, ring this number now, 0532 46 1000. And if you have any hints or tips on, or if you have any views about legalising prostitution, call us. Where is the water? What?
Sorry, there's a hosepipe bound. No
Forget, look, whilst they're still watering those stupid golf courses, cricket pitches and polo lawns, my fountain runs. Get it going now. I mean, I hear that if you happen to be a very wealthy Arab horse owner, you can get your race course watered if you've got enough money. Ridiculous, ridiculous. This is going to run until I say otherwise. Now, you may have heard that this week ITV lost its battle almost to screen Premier League football on television. Look at this lot, that's the last time you're going to see it. But, and this is an interesting fact, ITV have come up with a winner because not anymore are you going to worry about no football on television, because it looks like the ITV companies are going to be screening something completely different. And Yorkshire Television, here in Leeds, have invested in the first and only mud cam, because we will be seeing, I think, on British television, live on Saturdays, mud wrestling. It's going to be fantastic. And over here, if you would welcome the British Olympic mud wrestling team. Ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is Mark
Yes.
Herbert.
Yes,
Now,
that's
Mark,
right.
as yet, I didn't know anything about this. I didn't realise there was an Olympic mud wrestling team.
Oh, yes, well, you have female mud wrestling teams, so we decided to have a men's event, and
Yes.
we are the official British team for this year's Barcelona Olympics.
Now, has ITV paid millions of pounds to get the rights to show this on television?
Oh, yes, ITV has the exclusive rights over the BBC. It's invested millions in high technology and millions in props and sets. Yes,
It's exciting. I mean, because a lot of people were worried, that funny little bloke with the moustache and the grey hair, the football commentator, the Saint and Greavesy, those two.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they were going to be out of work. A lot of people worried about that, but they're going to get into this?
Yes, we've got them here here tonight, yes.
What about crowd trouble? Do you get crowd problems or not?
No, we don't. If anyone in the crowd starts acting a little bit bolshy, we just chuck them in, you know. It's,
really?
No problem there, no.
Now, these guys have been training for years and years,
yes.
as you can see. And I don't know if you have a little look at the guys. Can we get them in?
Yes,
to start off?
guys, if you stand in, yeah.
They're all mean and muscly, aren't they? And if we get a shot from our new mud cam, you can see the stuff in the bottom there. This actually came from a local sewage farm. This is sewage sludge that they are in at the moment. Well, listen, Nick, I'll let you start off and just talk us through this a little bit whilst I go over here.
Okay.
Fine.
Right. Are you ready, boys? I want a clean fight tonight.
That'll be difficult. 2,
3.
Whoa! Yeah! Good. Right, thank you. Thank you very much indeed. I did forget actually to to mention that the winner is the man who gets the other guy's briefs off first of all, and at the end of the bout, it's the man who's standing here with them in his hand. Nikki Adams is with me. Nikki is a member of the English Collective of Prostitutes, and as I said, we were going to talk seriously about legalising prostitution. It seems not only the Mothers' Union, but certain church people are very much in favour of this now. Why now? Why has it come to the fore?
Well, I don't know particularly why it's actually being discussed at the moment, but I think what the Mothers' Union were saying, and some people in the church as well, were saying that they were concerned about the situation that prostitute women were in and were proposing legalisation as a solution. Now, we don't actually agree with legalisation. We want the abolition of the prostitution laws, because legalisation would mean much worse working conditions for prostitute women. Women would end up paying very high tax, yet have no social benefits. Some cases, women have to register with the police. And we think that instead of the government or the police being in control of prostitution, women should be in control of their own bodies and their own money.
Well, that's interesting. Because, listen for one moment, in Germany, legalised prostitutes pay 56% of their earnings in taxes.
Yes, it's
that's ridiculous. And unlike other workers, they are not eligible for any social benefits.
Yes, that's right. And there are many other repressive measures that go with legalisation. Women don't have control over which clients they can see. And what we want is the abolition of the prostitution laws, which would allow women to work from premises and advertise as they wish, because obviously the present situation isn't good either.
But working on the street is dangerous. I mean,
yes,
you're based in King's Cross, an area I know very well. And it's not a... I didn't mean it like that, do you mind? It's not an ideal situation for somebody to sort of walk around the streets of King's Cross at night, is it?
No, it's not. And the reason that prostitution is a dangerous job is because the police refuse to protect women when they report violence to the police. And at the moment, what happens is that women can be arrested just on the word of a police officer alone and go to court already labelled as guilty, as labelled as a common prostitute, before they even get a chance to put the facts of the case.
Well, we checked up today with the police in King's Cross, who I have to say were very, very helpful indeed. And last year, where is it? Yes, last year, the cost of the unit in King's Cross alone to police King's Cross of the prostitute problem cost £570,000. That's just one area.
Yeah, a complete waste of money. And we think that instead of the police getting involved in what is essentially consenting sex, that they should be putting that time and those resources into serious crimes like violent crimes. And in fact, that's been quite a priority for our work, to actually say to the police that they should be doing something about, for example, the series of murders and rapes that have been going on against prostitute women in King's Cross. And instead, they've chosen to put resources into that.
You don't want to see legalised brothels and men running them, but are you quite happy? I mean, yourself, you're a spokesperson for the British Collective of Prostitutes. Would you be quite happy to see maybe a place where girls could come and work that you ran, for instance?
I'm not, I mean, the point is that we want the abolition of the laws, which would allow women to be in control of their own money and their own bodies, because really the debate on legalisation versus abolition is really a question of who is going to profit from prostitution, and legalisation would mean the government would profit, and we want the abolition of the laws, which would mean that women would be in control.
OK. Are you a prostitute, Nikki, or not?
We don't say in the ECP who is and who isn't on the game, because that's the best way we found to protect women's security.
In a proper world, would you rather that this sort of job did not exist at all?
Yes, ideally. Obviously, we're not into glamorising prostitution. We don't think it's a great job, but we think that, well, it is a job like any other, and that women have a right to be on the game and not be arrested and fined and, in some cases, imprisoned for it.
Lovely. OK, we're going to come back and talk some more. If you have any views, call us now. You know the number, 0532 46 1000. A little music now. I'm not sure about this. In fact, when I saw it earlier on this evening for the first time, I thought this is absolute crap video, but never mind. See what you think. It's A House. That's the name of the band, and it's called Endless Art. R.I.P. Oh, Dad. Take it off! And next time I tell you to take it off, make sure it's taken off straight away. You know, you can't trust it. They've got to have a nice edit point. That was awful! One person enjoyed it, but then he's got a very strange hairstyle, so...
He's got some hair.
Well, at least he's got some hair, I suppose, if you want to be hairist about the whole thing. Yes, I suppose so. But that was a video that was called Endless Art by A House. I think they'd have been better off painting it myself or something like that. But anyway, David from Epsom. Hello, David.
Hello.
Yes, your point on legalising prostitution or anything else? What do you want to talk about?
Well, I think if they legalised brothels, it would encourage safe sex.
You think it would encourage safe sex?
Yeah, because the people who go to them would have to wear condoms.
Yeah.
So, I mean, once they got in the habit, they'd obviously use it.
Do you use the service of prostitutes quite often or not?
No, never.
Oh, well, thank you. Jackie from Culture. There aren't many, I wouldn't have thought, in Epsom, are there? I don't know. I mean, it might be, but...
I have no idea.
Are there red light areas, do you think, in most towns?
There's red light areas in most cities, but a lot of women also work from premises in many other areas. In fact, the women that are working on the street are really just the tip of the iceberg. You know, there are many other women working in the sex industry.
OK, Jackie from Colchester. I mean, this sort of thing doesn't happen in Colchester, surely, Jackie?
Well, hopefully not, James. But do you not think that if prostitution and brothels were legalised in Britain, that the percentage, the numbers of rapes and sexual assaults in Britain would reduce?
Well, I don't know whether it would. You can't tell until it happens, really. But in Austria, prostitutes have to report to the police simply to go on holiday. A very strange thing. And they have said, and I forgot which country it is, I've got it here somewhere, that there is one particular country where they think that, it's Amsterdam, isn't it, where they definitely have less sexual crime on the street, they say, because they've legalised prostitution. Do you think it would?
I don't think there's any connection, really. I don't think that clients are more likely to be rapists or murderers. I don't think that there's particularly a question, you know, a connection. I think on the question of the compulsory health checks that are sometimes used as a reason for bringing in legalised brothels, I mean, it's been proved by every survey that's ever been done has always shown that prostitute women always do, you know, use condoms, have always used condoms long before AIDS, and in fact, if anything, it's the clients that are ready to pay. I mean, one survey in Manchester found that it was the clients that were ready to pay up to 4 times the going rate for sex without a condom, and yet still women were insisting on safer sex.
Now, you would really rather that prostitution didn't exist, wouldn't you?
Yes, I mean, ideally we would, you know, we don't think that prostitution is a great job, but then we don't think that many jobs that people have to do are good either. And what we really would like to see is something done about women's poverty.
But how do you feel about the church now, particularly coming out and saying that they'd like to see it legalised or decriminalised?
Well, I think some people in the church that are proposing legalisation do genuinely have the concern for prostitute women, and I think that people are confused about legalisation and don't realise that it would mean much worse working conditions for women. And also some people in the church have been ready to speak out against the poverty that forces many women on the game and young people.
Let's be fair about this, Nikki. I mean, even if you got rid of poverty, there would still be prostitutes, male and female prostitutes.
Yes, women may still choose to go on the game if it was a better job for more money and less work, which is, after all, what we all want.
You're absolutely right, absolutely right.
If it was better than other options available to women.
Let's talk to Tony from London, final call. Hello, Tony.
Hello, James.
Yeah.
Don't you think that all men pay for sex? I mean, we exchange the purchase of drinks and meals for girls we don't really know.
Who's laughing in the audience?
Shut up.
I'm the one who says shut up, not you. Right,
What?
just remember I got this, okay?
Okay.
You can be, right?
Okay,
fine.
don't cut me off.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all pay for sex, not women pay for sex as well, and men pay for sex. I mean, I suppose, if you look at it like that, he's right, isn't he? Yeah.
But, James.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Fantastic. Good, thank you, Tony. Now, if you are thinking of opening a brothel, and of course you can open a brothel, can't you? But you can't actually operate it.
Well, how do you mean open a brothel?
Well, you could have a premises, couldn't you, but not do anything?
What the law says is that if more than one woman is working from premises, it's illegal, which is outrageous, because obviously it would be much safer for women to work together from premises and less...
I see. Right, let me just, if you were going to open a place, I mean, I don't know whether you wear clothes like this or not, or if you know, people who work in this, but if you were opening one, you probably would need some kind of exotic fashions. Well, a young lady called Tabby, who has become a self-styled spokeswoman for the Essex Girl, the much maligned Essex Girl, and we'll find out about that a little later on, actually does have a thriving industry where she makes these costumes herself. And we're going to see throughout the programme tonight quite a lot of Tabby, quite a few of her outfits. And the first one here, can we get a look at this? Can we go to this now? Here, where is she? Oh, there she is. Yes, don't be shy, Tabby. This is Tabby. And Tabby is wearing a costume that she has made herself, as you can see. It's pink leather, and I'm told it's real leather, boned leotard, real leather boned leotard. I should think it's probably rather difficult to do your exercises in this. Look at the audience. Look, they're completely gobsmacked. They don't know what to do, really. Trimmed with snakeskin, by the way. That's lovely, Tabby. And remember the camera you're on, Tabby. Love that cameraman. Love that cameraman. It must get very hot, I would have thought, wearing that. It's worn with matching boots. And, yes, and it's worn also with fishnet tights. In fact, Les, who's working the camera at the moment, very good. I think you've got it there, Tabby. I really do. Show us another twirl. And she goes, let's hear it for Tabby, please. That's lovely. That's lovely. Baz, right? I mean, look at him. Look at him. Look, he's doubled. Oh, he's going to get out of it now. It's a shame, really. But that's one of the benefits of working on this programme. Can we check out the mud wrestling? I think it'd be nice just to see how that's going. Of course, this is the latest. Look, there we are. You can see. I don't know how far they've got at this particular moment, but it looks to me as if they're both fully clothed. And I wonder if they have a union. I should talk to Nikki about that, whether or not they have any kind of union facility or not. It's a little gruesome. Do you think a job people would rather not do?
I have no idea, so up to people to choose for themselves, surely.
I think I'd rather not do that, I must admit. We're back in a couple of moments, don't go away. Now, as far as the mud wrestling is concerned...
In the rain.
You see the British Olympic mud wrestling team are doing remarkably well there. It is a little difficult, and of course these are very new to television at the moment. We're going to have to work out some way before this is screened every week on whatever the Saturday sports programme on ITV is going to be called. Some way of differentiating between the two of them, because they now look completely the same. Now, this was the point in the programme I was quite looking forward to. Sitting on the train today, I read through heaps and heaps of notes, and when you're dyslexic, it's not an easy thing to do. From a man who's written a book who calls himself severely strange. Well, I think it's Several Lestrange, who rang up about 2 hours ago. Well, we had to ring him, we couldn't find him, to say he couldn't make the programme tonight. I mean, he did say he was coming on some weeks ago, didn't he? Some weeks ago. I don't suppose, severely, that it'll ever happen again that you'll be asked on a television programme, but if it does, don't leave it till the last minute. Because now I've got to do an impromptu interview with you and you're not here. Now, Severely Strange has written a book, and I'm going to quote some of it out. I haven't got Severely, so this is Severely over here, and I figure this is probably fairly similar to his, to the way he looks. I've got a little picture of him there. Now, Severely has said in his book, Built for Sex, Made for Love, by the way, he says, and I quote, achieving the status of the greatest lover in the world was not entirely without effort. I'm amazed that it probably wasn't, actually. Severely says also that the same force and exhaustive effort I would employ to build my body into its near-perfect proportions, we're not seeing him. I mean, that is really a shame, isn't it? I mean, near-perfect proportions would be the same force and exhaustive effort I would employ when making love for a woman. Now, to read this, first of all, I think Severely has got an Oedipus complex, and if you don't know what that is, look it up, because he had a very close relationship with his mother. I mean, when you read it, it's not worth ever making love to a woman, because you're never going to measure up to this guy. He spends 5 or 6 hours a day training for it. And he charges about £2,000 a go. And he's also, this is quite interesting, listen to this, he says, I would personally measure my sexual performance regularly to see if my technique and stamina was increasing and which positions and techniques I performed best with. I mean, he is such a caring man. This is the sort of guy every woman wants to be with. My scale of measurement, I coined the PTAM phrase. PTAM is my abbreviation for pelvic thrusts a minute. Okay? And he says, top quality, high speed, vaginal penetration. I myself, not me, but Severely Strange here, I produce about 52 pelvic thrusts a minute at my peak. Now, I don't know whether many of you could do that. You want to think about that. 52 pelvic thrusts in a minute. All right? Now, you can start off quite well, but can you keep it up? And that is Severely, I'm just upset you couldn't make it tonight, and it's a shame, but, sorry, Severely, I'm really sorry you couldn't make it tonight, but maybe at another time, okay? Maybe another time. Let's take a couple of calls. Marie from Bolton. Hello, Marie. Which camera are we going to use? Anyone will do. That one? Fine. Okay, Marie, how are you?
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks. Are you a prostitute? Ooh.
No, I'm not.
You're not?
No.
Have you thought about it or not?
No, never.
You haven't?
So I've got a few friends that do it.
You've got what?
A few friends that do it.
You've got a few friends that do it?
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Do they enjoy it or not?
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah.
They feel exploited? Would they rather do something else if they could?
No, they like doing what they're doing. It's a 9-to-5 job to them.
Yeah? Do they make a lot of money?
Some do, yeah.
Do they have unscrupulous men who take money from them?
No, they don't. They have regular clients, so they might know it's safe and they don't get raped and what have you.
You think they provide a service?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you agree with Nikki? It's unfortunate Nikki's not here at the moment. Do you agree with Nikki when she says she doesn't really think it would benefit the girls too much if it was legalised?
Yeah, I do agree with her, yeah.
Yeah. OK, Marie, thank you for calling. Sean is in Glasgow. Hello, Sean, you're on the air.
Hello. Do
Hi.
you think the prostitutes provide a good service for people that might not be able to have a relationship otherwise? Or do you think it's just exploitation of women?
I think you're right. There's an interesting, apparently, we wanted to do a film on this, but time and money was not forthcoming. There's a place now in Amsterdam which is staffed by medical people that is for people who have a disability in some way to look after their sexual needs. And I think you're quite right, yeah, you're quite right. Would you go to a prostitute yourself, Sean, or have you?
No, well, I think if you have to start paying for it, it's time to give it up, basically.
Well, I think, Sean, we heard before that most of us pay for it anyway, but I take your point. Thank you very much indeed. We'll take some more calls a little later on. Now, what are we going to do? Competition time. You'll love this. Competition time is good. Last week, I said, phone up the competition line and sing Riders on the Storm to win a fantastic video. Well, I'm glad to say an awful lot of you did. I can't imagine why, but here's just a few of the people who didn't win. Cliff Richard.
Riders on the storm. Riders on the storm. Into the house of bone. Riders on the storm. Riders on the storm. Dum 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 dum. Into this world of wrong. Riders on the storm. Like a dog without a bone, an actor out alone. Jamesville as a plonker. No, 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 no. The riders of the storm.
Anyway, enough.
Riders on the storm.
Enough of that. Right. The winner though was a lady from Watford called Debbie Wood. Here she is. Debbie, this is great.
Riders on the storm. I don't know the words, so I've got to sing along. And it's Riders on the Storm. I'd like to win these videos, but you can stick the one about the cat. Riders on the storm, I'm riders on the storm. What do you think of that?
Fantastic. Very good. So, what we'll do, Debbie, is we'll send you the doors, we'll send you Tabby's video, and because that was such a good rendition, we'll send you this. If only because I am on the front cover. And because, of course, everybody wants to find out about football, and you're going to have to get a satellite dish to do it. Here we are. This is the definite guide to satellite TV. You get the best from satellite TV. There's me, and there's a man called the Dish Doctor. Fantastic. Now, this week, because, of course, you're not going to be able to see any football on ITV, well, we thought we would give you an unlimited chance to be able to watch football on television whenever you want. How would you like to be able to do that? Well, if you'd like a chance of being able to watch football live on television, well, maybe not so live, on television, whenever you want, all you have to do is answer this one quick and easy question. Now, could you name all the players since 1872 who've represented Scotland? That's a little difficult. I think that is a little difficult. So I'll tell you what. Can you name the capital of Scotland? If you can name the capital of Scotland, ring that number, 0898 500 111, and you could be lucky enough to win this. It's a video, the official history of the Scotland football team. And you see, you can watch football on television then with this whenever you want. Pretty clever, really. Well, I thought it was quite clever. Onwards with the mail. Now, we had loads of letters, and if you would like to write, don't forget, if your letter gets read out on the air, we do send you, whilst we still have them, a box of late-night entertainment. These are particularly interesting flavoured condoms, and you only get these if your letter gets read out on the show. Well, last week's show, which was on What Screws You Up, we had a response from Aris B. from Walthamstow, who writes angrily, "I would like to point out the programme is not about you." I think he means me. "If it were, no one would watch it, and no one cares what annoys you." Stuff it. And I'll tell you something else, Aris, you are not getting a packet of these, so forget it, right? Forget it. Matthew Sessions in Grimsby sent a long list of his irritations, and that was pretty irritating because the list went on and on and on. These were a couple of them. Trying to find the place where the sellotape begins. Yeah, that is, I agree with that. Pubic hair on the soap, that's very tacky, not nice at all. Oh, you've all had that, have you? Funny. It's a funny crew we have working tonight, you know, they've all had that problem. Insects that are excellent swimmers and refuse to be flushed down the toilet. And Janice Poulter in Plymouth asks, when is Rick Ramrod coming on the show again? When? Oh, I see, yes. I don't think he is. I mean, you know, he couldn't be trusted last time. Oh, and Bill Stephan in Sutton, in Surrey, wrote, I didn't think much of your plastic pants report. Could we have a more in-depth discussion this week? You may remember somebody says that for the best sort of sexual excitement, wear plastic pants close to the skin. Well, we tried last week, and he didn't think it was, Bill that was, didn't think it was good enough. And I thought, I don't know if we got enough light anywhere. Where is young Baz? You know, Britain's smallest but most perfectly formed camera person. Can we get a shot of him or not? It's a little dark over there in the corner. I don't know. I don't know whether we can, actually. Just hold on one minute. I'll tell you what, Baz. Where, come. Would you, listen, Baz, would you take these home? Come here, Baz. Come right in here. Come here, Baz. To me. Baz, to me. Come over here to me, Baz. Over here. There we are. Take these home. You see how he is small? And look, you can wear those and let us know whether it's done anything for your sex life at all. Okay? Fabulous. Very nice indeed. That's great. That's lovely. I've completely forgotten where on earth I am now. Oh, yeah. Yes. Of course, if you can't get through on the programme, you can ring our interlude line, and these are some of the calls from last week. I think you look lovely, Baz.
Two things really annoy me. Firstly, drivers who drive around with the fog lights on. Secondly, the free leaflets always drop out of the magazines when you buy them. The thing that really pisses me off is cats in general. Anything to do with cats, people who own cats. Basically, they shit in my garden, eat my fish, and I think everything to do with cats should be exterminated.
Who is this tosspot taking the piss out of the Jews?
People that really wind me up are people who are negative and can't see any good in anything. You know, tell it like it is. Have a Nagila.
I'd just like to say that James Whale is seriously sexy, but he should get rid of the jewellery.
Hey, whatever happened to white dog shine?
The thing that really annoys me is not getting on your bloody interlude.
Yes, James. Why is abbreviation such a long word? Hello, this is me again. I'm still trying to get on your show, but it's getting bloody hard, you know. Please give me a ring. Well, we're going to try and ring your number anyway, because there's loads of us here, and we're all having a party. Listen around. We're still here, but we'll try your other number. Bye.
Call box. 0898 46 1000. Call box.
I want you to go out now, and I want you to ring that number as much as you can, because some poor sod has to listen to all those calls. Right, here comes Tabby, and take two on Tabitha, and here we are. The sort of gear that everybody will be wearing this year in bed. Listen, she sewed this all on herself, if you'll excuse the expression. She's wearing a black leather leotard trimmed with diamante. Yes, every Essex girl's dream, a leotard of diamante. Worn with silver thigh boots, very nice, and of course you can see the silvery tights as well. What do you think in the audience? Sell it, baby, sell it. There we are, look at that. That's it. Yeah, anyway, thank you very much indeed, Tabby, and we'll be seeing more of Tabby a little later on. There we are. Nikki, so busy, it's rushing all over the place here. Now, earlier this year, we were down in London, we were filming in a phone box, where all the girls who advertise themselves, their cards are stuck. Now, British Telecom have actually outlawed this, haven't they? And they've stopped people putting them in. I mean, have they prosecuted anyone or not?
Well, they've tried. I mean, the thing is...
They've actually tried?
What they did is that they sent letters to women and said that they would cut their phones off, which we think is probably illegal. We took legal advice on it, and we think it's probably illegal. And also, it's completely outrageous because women try very hard to save very hard to set themselves up from premises, and if British Telecom cut off their phones, then women are going to be forced back out onto the street, which is a lot more dangerous to work. And also, it's none of British Telecom's business, really. I mean, on the one hand, they don't seem to have any objection to the sex lines when they're getting a very big cut of the money, but they suddenly get very moralistic when it comes down to women advertising in their phone boxes. And the whole problem that they complain about, they say that they're acting on the basis of complaints. I'm sure that, first of all, that they get a lot more complaints about their prices, but...
Yeah, right. I mean, you're absolutely right. The 0898 numbers and similar, the sex lines, not our line, of course, do make an enormous amount of money for Telecom, don't they? I mean, things like, we do it harder, forget the rest, this is the best, unbelievable, and stuff like this.
I mean, we have no objection to the sex lines.
No,
That's not the problem. The problem is
Kinky Girl now
British Telecom's double standard, really.
When you said this to them, what did they reply with?
They basically stuck to their line that they had a litter problem and that they had complaints, which is not, it's not really the issue. I mean, the problem is that they are going to, if they cut off women's phones, first of all, that they were cutting off incoming calls, so women were paying the full price for the service and only getting half the service. And also, women were at risk of being put out of business, basically, of having to give up their premises and go back to working on the street to make their money.
OK, Nikki, we'll take some more calls and we'll talk more a little later on. For the moment, we'll take a break. Back in a couple of moments.
James Whale. Get on down. James Whale.
The most famous man on planet Earth.
James Whale. Get on down. James Whale.
The most famous man.
OK, Nick, how are they doing? All right? Yes, OK, I'll tell you. Yeah. Yes. First time on British... I'm sorry, this is disgusting. First time on British television with... Oh, he's hurt himself. No, he's OK. I think that's a foul there. I think that's just... I'm sorry about... I think that's a foul... Oh, I'm sorry about this. Look. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, first time on British television, Groove Detective with their new single, Reptile.
Going home.
Excellent. I like that. Very good. Those are the Groove Detective. And I think the lead singer there has sort of the look of the late Mark Bolan, a little of Mark Bolan in there. The Groove Detective and their new single out called Reptile. Now, on the telephone, I think, should be Simon Watney. Hello, Simon.
Hello, James.
Hi, Simon. Now, Simon is from the National AIDS Manual, right?
Right.
And we're about to talk, changing the subject slightly, although we're talking tonight about the cost of sex. Some would say the cost of sex is AIDS and other sexually transmitted diseases. Today sees the launch of the Terence Higgins Trust's The Gay Man's Guide to Safer Sex.
Right.
Now, we're going to show some of this in a few moments. Before we do show it, I will tell people if they're going to be easily upset to go out of the room or whatever. But first of all, I've got some questions to ask. I mean, is this an excuse? I'm watching someone, I'm wondering if it's an excuse really just for homosexual titillation, really.
I think it's not at all. I mean, the last couple of years we've seen videos like The Lover's Guide for Heterosexuals, which I must say as a gay man I find pretty embarrassing because it shows that loads of women and men find it very difficult to talk about sex. And in an epidemic, as I'm sure Nikki would agree, that's very problematic.
But don't you think that, I mean, this is really encouraging sex between two men, one of whom supposedly is HIV positive?
No, of course not. We don't know who's got HIV. That's the great problem in this epidemic. You can't simply find out by testing because testing doesn't show up the virus for several months after you've been infected. So it's very important, especially for gay men, that we have proper, mature, adult, safer sex materials. And God knows this government is going to isn't going to provide such things. So
Some
we have to do it for ourselves.
some people say, Simon, though, that if you are HIV positive, or even if you are in a high risk, then sex should be the last thing you participate in.
We're all in a high-risk group for this epidemic. You know, you can get HIV from anyone, yeah?
Yeah.
And the great problem here is censorship. As Nikki was saying earlier on about Telecom, or if we talk about safe sex advertising, the enemy here is censorship. And it's very important we have explicit, frank, adult materials for people to, you know, just to think about the issues and to feel confident about their sex life, to feel confident about themselves.
This is on sale in shops, as was The Lover's Guide.
It will be on sale, yes, through, you know, regular retail outlets throughout the United Kingdom.
I mean, have the same kind of retail outlets taken it that took Lover's Guide?
No, I think Virgin's going to take it. Someone in HMV Liverpool apparently has already said no. So for gay men in Liverpool, I get down to HMV on Monday and start shouting.
So, I mean, basically you are prepared for a lot of criticism, though?
I'm not prepared for it, because I think British people are generally pretty sussed about HIV, but they know that we have to get real about this epidemic. The newspapers may go apeshit on Sunday, you know, the News of the World or the Mirror may go crazy, but I think most readers know the papers are stupid about this issue, yeah?
We're going to look at it now. Simon, thank you for talking to us about it.
Okay,
and,
I just want to say, this is a video made for gay men, by gay men.
Fine.
If anyone's embarrassed, too bad, it's for us,
okay? Simon, thank you. This is rated 18, this video, all right? Because some of you may be watching this programme on VCR. This is rated 18. There's a warning on the cover, and at the start of the video, too, that it was made for and aimed at an audience specifically of gay men, as Simon said. If you are likely to be offended by this, then I urge you, do not watch.
My boyfriend's HIV positive. He found out about a month after we met, and when he told me, my worries were for him, about how he felt, about his health. Sexually, we'd always been safer. Well, we'd only been together a month. But then we went through a difficult time. He was concerned for me. It was as if, although he knew that safer sex was okay, something was holding him back. We talked a lot about how we felt, what we wanted, what was possible. And it took time for him to feel good about himself, for him to feel secure in the knowledge that by following safer sex guidelines, he wasn't putting me at risk. I really liked him. I was falling in love with him, and his being positive was something we both needed to accept. We'd had sex the first night we met, but now we began a courtship. We needed to take things slowly, and I suppose I did too. Being HIV positive is always there, but it's a part of life, and we can deal with it. And when sex is safe, you know, no danger of getting cum inside you, it's great. Knowing that reduced our fears about HIV, and we began to concentrate on developing our sex life. Looking back, it was just developing trust, and it was worth it. 2 years on, he's the one who can swim faster than me, and what I'm trying to say is, it's not just about sex or HIV status. It's about him, and it's about me, and it's about how we feel for each other. Yeah, we have arguments, and we make up. Our relationship's just the same as most gay couples.
Okay, there we are. That is the tape from the Terence Higgins Trust. I wonder what you thought about it. You can ring, of course, our phone line. Nikki, first of all, what did you think of it?
Well, I think that one of the things that has come out of the movement against HIV and AIDS is more information about sex, which is a good thing. And I think about, you know, whether people are offended by it or not. Whenever we talk about sex, I think the question has to be whether it's consenting sex or not. And I find something like that a lot less offensive than the idea, or than the fact that for 250 years, rape in marriage was not a crime. I mean, you know, as far as I'm concerned, that's a lot more of an offensive situation than a video like that.
I've been looking at this article in the Daily Star from a couple of weeks ago, and it's all about some place called the Yab Yum Club. And it's a hotel, basically, where you go, where the girls drink champagne, which is £150 a bottle. If you want a night at this place, I don't know if you get a look at this. It's sort of, I'm hoping somebody might buy me a week there, actually. It costs you £2,000 a night or something like that. And it's made the owner a millionaire and the girls very wealthy as well. Is this real, do you think, or not?
Well, in fact, one of the things about the situation in Amsterdam that women still complain about is that although to a certain extent it's a more liberal situation. What women are still complaining about is that they don't get protection from the police when they are attacked by clients. And that's the situation generally in Europe, where legalisation has been brought in. For example, in Hamburg, only 12% of the women actually work in the legalised brothels because the conditions are so bad. And legalisation fundamentally doesn't get rid of the stigma of prostitution. Only the abolition of the prostitution laws would do that. And many men won't go to, in the same way as many women won't work in the legalised brothels, many men won't go to the legalised brothels. And the DPP would still have had to resign if he'd gone to a legalised brothel.
Do you think, I mean, yes, you're right. I think it's a sort of a reflection on society that I'm not happy about, that the DPP had to resign because he wanted to do that sort of thing.
Well, the DPP resigning was a lot less of a disaster than many of the things that happened to women as a result of being arrested for what is essentially consenting sex and is a business arrangement.
Are the police more prepared to sort of take a less harsh look now or not?
I don't think so. I think that the police are still cleaning up areas and forcing women to work in other areas. They're still arresting women when they're not working. They're still refusing to protect women from violence. They're still taking women to court and women get convicted just on their word.
So this really is the area that you would like to see the legislators looking at, not sort of legalising it, but looking at perhaps decriminalising it.
Yes, we want the abolition of the laws. I mean, I think the thing about the police as well is that there has been a lot of publicity about very big cases of miscarriages of justice. The point is that it's the same police, really. The police for the Guildford 4 and the Birmingham 6 and the Tottenham 3 are the same police that are policing prostitute women.
So really what we want is for the police to sort of take, or to be pulled back a little bit.
Well,
Nikki?
For a start, they shouldn't have immunity from prosecution, and the latest decision by the DPP, where she decides not to prosecute the West Midlands Serious Crime Squad.
That's another programme for the moment. Nikki, thank you very much indeed. We must move on, and I'm sure we now have to see the third and final outfit from Tabby, or should we? Yes, I thought we ought to. This is black PVC, apparently, very much worn by people around here. It's a leotard worn with heavily boned corsets. I've never really been sure what heavy bones are, but there we are. Laced PVC gloves. Quiet animals, and laced black patent thigh boots. Very, very nice indeed. Tabby, do come and sit down for a few moments, because just there, that's the only empty chair, dear. You sit in that one. That's good. Yes. Excuse me. Just can I? Excuse me. Right. Tabby, you actually make. All right.
Yes.
You actually make good. I'm glad about that. You make all this yourself?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yep.
And Tabby, you've become somewhat of an expert on the Essex girl. You are an Essex girl?
I am an Essex girl, yes.
Yes? And you're doing quite a lot for Essex girls, I can tell.
Am I?
Well, I don't know. I noticed in the Sport on Friday, the Daily Sport, there's a picture of Tabby here. I mean, you're not upset about me showing this, are you?
Me upset?
I'm speaking to you, Tabby.
No,
fine,
not
okay.
upset at all,
No. In fact, it says here she will be unveiling more of her exotic creations on tonight's James Whale show. The Southend sizzler, sizzle a bit, Tabby, hopes to pin down a market as far afield as Spain, where she'd give a whole new meaning to Basque freedom.
I didn't get that bit.
No. Well, that's probably because you're an Essex girl. You just bought a new car you wanted to tell me about as well, haven't you?
Oh, yes, I just bought a nice customised Capri.
You haven't?
I have, yes.
Yes. I was actually, when you turned up earlier, I was upset that you weren't wearing the white court shoes.
No, I give them a miss today.
You did?
Yes.
It's a bit of a shame, really.
I keep those for Southend Seafront.
You keep them for Southend Seafront, but you do wear them? Yeah.
Sometimes.
What sort of... Listen, serious part, I know you're taking the mick out of me. Would
I?
Yes, you would. What sort of people buy your clothes? I mean, do
Oh, all sorts of people.
Yeah.
From people who wear them just to go to nightclubs, things like that. Middle-aged.
You would go to a nightclub
I
dressed
would
like
go to a nightclub dressed like this, yeah. A lot of my friends would as well. Middle-aged women who dress up for their husbands at home.
You told me a couple of MPs. You're not prepared to name them on the show, are you?
No, I couldn't, could I? Really?
No.
They trust me.
I suppose you couldn't, really. It was a bit of a shame. But thank you very much indeed for bringing them along and showing us. Tabby, ladies and gentlemen, from Essex. Nikki, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. It's a very trying issue, and I think what you've done tonight is actually show a different side of the legalisation argument. Thank you very much indeed for that. The mud wrestlers are still doing well. Next week, I'm keeping the jewellery. Next week on the show, special guests Nicholas Parsons and Richard Whiteley. And people who collect unusual things. Ladies and gentlemen, the final of the British Mud Wrestling Olympic team.